retirement of Danny Sullivan now make their stops, and they're back into the action.
They're all three, Emerson Fittipaldi, Rick, and Al, all three have 14.5-second stops. The pit crews are really competitive. Like Sam was saying early, it's good fall on the pit crews today, Paul.
So the field now begins to form up behind the pace car, though you can see most of the cars are in the pits.
Are in the pits, yeah. At this point, of course, these pit stops are like board meetings. I mean, everybody is trying to decide exactly what to do. There's so many things, as you see Mario stopping, that can be changed. The tires, of course, and you see them changing 3 there, as well as refueling the car. But there's the question of the wings, especially that front wing can be easily changed in its angle. Look at the fire coming out. That's fairly standard stuff, believe it or not, as spectacular as it looks.
Then what happens there is the paint is burning underneath the wing.
All right, so now the number 5 car, Andretti, back into the action at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 62 laps complete. By the way, there's more racing action coming up this afternoon. Round number 1 of the International Race of Champions from Daytona International, as that 4-race series, world champion drivers in identical cars face off with one another at the International Race of Champions. That's right after our live telecast of the Indianapolis 500-mile race. We're still under yellow at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The tow-in for Bobby Rahal, and there was a problem in Tom Sneva's pit, but very quickly it was doused. There was a little flash of fire. Tom Sneva's car was rolled back away from it, apparently a little bit of a fuel spill.
Sneva bailed out of that car like the athlete that he is. He hadn't anticipated running a full season this year. He really made up his mind, Tom Sneva had, to retire to the world of golf and maybe only do a few races. When this offer came through, he took it, but it's been funny. It's been hard for him, I think, in some ways to get back into the idea that he's a full-time racing driver.
What you saw right on the ground there was water that was poured in, because if you mix water with the alcohol, the methanol alcohol, it just makes it where it just really won't burn.
That's we ought to point out, you can put an alcohol fire out with water, but don't you ever throw water on a gasoline fire.
No, of course there's no gasoline in these cars here. Everyone is here with methanol alcohol. It makes it a lot safer, Paul.
Well, there is the Airship America, the Goodyear blimp, based out of Houston, Texas. This is the 25th year that a Goodyear blimp has floated lazily over the Indianapolis 500, and they're giving you shots like this. Tremendous shots. It used to just be a nice, pretty shot, but now you can see first and second place as they set themselves up under the yellow flag. It becomes actually part of the race coverage as technology continues to improve in the coverage of motorsports. Under yellow at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 63 laps complete. All 63 are being scored to Emerson Fittipaldi, who jumped in the lead right at the start. Bobby Rahal sits by the edge of the course waiting for his crew to come up to the north end of the pits and bring him down for service. Apparently, he's just a matter of him being out of fuel and running out on the track. We take a look at the conclusion, actually going back to lap 50. At the rundown at that time, Fittipaldi, Andretti, Unser Jr., Mario Andretti, Rick Mears, Al Unser, Arie Luyendyk, Bobby Rahal, Jim Crawford, and then a lap behind the leaders, Boesel, Palmroth, Brayton, Dobson, A.J. Foyt, now 2 laps behind the leaders, as is Scott Pruitt, running in 15th place, then Davy Jones, then John Jones, Billy Vukovich III, then going 3 laps down, Ludwig Heimrath Jr., Rich Vogler runs in 20th place, Didier Tays and Bernard Jourdain also 3 behind the race. John Andretti 4 laps behind in 23rd. We look down through the rest of the field now, 30 cars. Teo Fabi is running in 30th, 27 laps behind, and of course some of those cars are out of the Indianapolis 500. That's a rundown of all 33 cars in the 500, and with the improved scoring that we have, that's, I think, the first time we've ever seen all 33 in the running of the race.
I think if you have an overview of what's happened, it's the surprise that Fittipaldi has dominated the Penske team as much as he has. In turn, the Penskes have not been as strong as we anticipated. The Andrettis have almost taken the Penske place. They've moved up Michael Andretti, of course, from way, way back into second place. So it's been a race, to this point, filled with surprises.
Again, let's go back to 50 laps for those who like to keep score of this race. Take a look at the summary. Emerson Fittipaldi, the leader of the race, at 50 laps at an average speed of 148.3 miles an hour. Not nearly a record, but pretty close to last year's pace. It was just almost identical to last year. 1 caution, that was Kevin Cogan's situation.
That was a long caution, Paul. The race pace has really been fast. notice that Bobby Ray Hall is going to be out of the race. I think their problem was probably Thomas. Very possibly new short stroke Cosworth.
We've got a few of the cars already being scored out of the Indianapolis 500. But now the pace car comes back off the course once again. Dwayne Sweeney, the starter, has the green flag, and Emerson Fittipaldi roars past the 59 car, Perro Pomeroy, continuing to lead here at the Indianapolis 500. But it will be a battle at the front of the field because there sits Michael Andretti just behind the leader.
Boy, I tell you, Paul, that Michael really did take the shot at Emma when they came up that fourth turn and down the front straightaway. He was really hoping that he was going to catch Emma behind that lap car in front of him, box him in and be able to pass him. That Michael is really handling good today.
Michael chasing Emerson Fittipaldi. Some bad luck for Scotsman Jim Crawford, who was lapped by the leader Fittipaldi just 2 laps before the yellow caution came out. He remained ahead of Emma on the track, but he would have been able to close up on the field if he could have gotten around him.
Mario told me Michael is not as patient as I am. He has always done well. He deserves the best. But if there's a flaw in anything he does, it's that he's fairly impatient. He wants to get ahead quickly. He may not be able to get up to Emerson, but if he does, it'll be interesting to see how he handles the situation, Bob.
And as the day progresses on, watch Michael's groove. Michael has a groove around this track all of his own. He'll run lower, not only in the turn, the short shoots he'll run lower, and in the long straightaways he'll run lower. He is literally the only car on the track that runs that type of a groove. Now his dad is probably the next closest to it. But Emerson Fittipaldi, as we'll see the two of them running together, will be in a totally standard like Rick Mears or an Al Unser group.
Michael Andretti works his way around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it's 2.5 miles in second place. That's the leader, Fittipaldi, ahead as you ride on board with second place.
The cars sit so low to the pavement, and there's Al Sr. coming into the pits.
Jack Arute is there as Al Unser rolls down toward the Penske pits for service. Let's go to Jack.
And Paul, the report on the radio is that Al Unser Sr., like his teammate Danny Sullivan, is experiencing a clutch problem. Rick Reineman, the crew chief for the team, looks it over as the crew, six men over the wall, try to make an adjustment, but so far it's been to no avail. They are not taking on fuel. They're doing nothing but trying to adjust towards the rear of the car. Now this again will certainly put him out of strong contention to win this event. You can hear as he tries to work the clutch back to get the car into gear, and it seems to be not working as well as he would hope.
Now the problem with that, Paul, is that the clutch is slipping. And what they're trying to do is to give it more free travel. Somehow or another, maybe the hydraulic pressure has built up some heat, expanded, causing the clutch to release just a little bit. This would be disastrous if they can't fix it.
A long 28-second stop as Roger Penske watches over his team.
Well, Penske, more than anybody, approaches this almost in a military fashion and knows what strength in numbers means. He started the race with 3 cars. In effect, he has only 1 left to him now, Rick Mears, and this race isn't even halfway over. So this is not the kind of race that Roger likes to see develop at all.
Al still working his way around the track, trying to come up to speed, but it is not rolling fast. The clutch is still a problem. That would leave Roger Penske with only one hope, the number 4 car of Rick Mears, and it currently lies in 4th place.
Keep another thing in mind, Paul. It could be that all 3 cars, remember, they are identical cars. The setups are almost identical on them. Could it be that 3 of them are going to have the same problem? That's the problem they had last year with the wings breaking, the wing bracket. It's possible.
That's what's so important about the Indianapolis 500. It is the first race at 500 miles of the year. The furthest distance these cars have seen in head-to-head combat has been 200 miles. So once they get beyond that, they're into new territory. The view of the great Indianapolis Motor Speedway. First and second work their way through the short chute at the north end. Fittipaldi leads. Michael Andretti runs in second. Then Little Al. Then Rick Mears, the hope of the Penske team. And then Mario Andretti. We'll be back with more coverage of the Indianapolis 500 after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Al Unser's team work on the car from the crew cam on Rick Reinemann's radio. Big Al still sits in the car. Apparently, they feel that there is an opportunity to repair this car and get it back into the run. I'm Paul Page with Sam Posey and Bobby Unser. We're at the 73rd running of the Great Indianapolis 500. Roger Penske stays in Rick Mears' pit, concerned mostly with that car, but of course his concern spreads to this car and the entire team. One of his cars, Danny Sullivan's, is already out. There's